Hey, what's going on, guys? So we had round 10 in Indianapolis, and we had the Jet sweep. And Jet won each moto to win the overall. And that is the third race in a row that Jet won. It could have been the fourth had he not fallen in Arlington. But kind of the Jett Lawrence domination in Supercross has now begun. Like 23-point lead in the championship. Doesn't even really need to, in my opinion, go for race wins anymore. I think he will, but Webb's the one that's sitting in second in the points, and he can. I think he's got the speed to beat Webb. Obviously, he can probably turn it up and pass Webb if he needs to later at the end of races. So I don't think he needs to necessarily go out and win these races anymore. I'm sure he will, especially if the opportunity presents himself. I do think he wants to get as many wins as possible. I think he is chasing history with the McGrath record. But it is, Jet's starting to dominate in Supercross as well, and this is kind of how racing goes. It's been almost long overdue since we've had a someone young come in to dominate the sport. I mean, we probably would have had a couple ones. Ken would have probably dominated more had he not had his pretty bad injury. And then you have guys like Austin Faulkner who started to just kill everybody in Supercross in the 250 class, was undefeated, got won everything, including three races in a Triple Crown against Sexton and Justin Cooper, and then ended up getting hurt every year since then. It's kind of the unfortunate thing is a lot of guys just get hurt, never really make it to the spot that Jet's at. Which is why we kind of have more of like a veteran class. There's a lot of older vets and Webb and Tomac, Malcolm, all those guys that are still phenomenal. As you see, like 250 champs come in and they struggle. I.e., Hunter Lawrence isn't as good as maybe he thought he was going to be on that 450. I thought Hunter was going to be um, maybe a bit better on the 450 as well. I thought he would have been similar to like Jet as far as like riding technique and stuff. He would have learned some of that a little bit better, but he isn't. But it's Jet's just he's just that good. And in racing, I feel like there's a guy that he can just hit the turns better. He can go faster in the turns, out of the turns. His drive coming through the turns. He's hitting jumps that other guys aren't doing right. Like he continued the jump line into the whoops. He went over to the right side to try to avoid some of those ruts there. And then you see him tweak his left wheel, like Jason Wygant was talking about how he thought it was so amazing, so that he didn't go into those tough blocks because he was going from the left side of that wall jump to the right side of the whoops, and then he's tweaking that left. He's tweaking his front tire left so he doesn't run into the tough blocks on the right side. But he was gaining time there, and then like his exit speed on the sand after the finish line, you could just see him catch rocks in every time through the end of the sand there. So I mean, he's just doing things that other riders aren't doing. He's willing to do rhythm sections that they aren't doing, i.e., Daytona, and it's gonna, that's gonna bite those guys that aren't doing it. But as long as Jet stays on two wheels, it's gonna pay dividends for him, especially in his if he's going for these race wins. I think he does need to be careful about it, especially like Indy's a track where it's technical. So luckily, like that whoop jump wasn't the most sketchy as far as like as high speed because it kind of pops you up and it really slows you down more than anything. As far as in the air when you land, you're not going super fast like when you're tripling through a rhythm section or trying to quad in a rhythm section. But he does have to be kind of careful because he can get caught out like that. He's somehow tamed his speed early. Sometimes you see these guys, they have so much speed, like Tomac, who had a ton of speed in the outdoors and ended up biting him eventually. But he's tamed his speed. He's got, great, great technique, form, everything. I just think that we're going to be spending a few years, probably until Deegan gets up there, just watching Jett Lawrence dominate. I will say that Sexton showed a little bit of hope as far as speed. He doesn't get around the guys as fast. I think Jet's got so much speed that he can really get around somebody if he wants to. We tend to see him kind of pick it up and pass, Roxon when he needed to. Even though he did make a couple mistakes, set him back a little bit. But Chase is showing a little bit more speed. I still don't think Chase is as fast as he was last year. I think Tomac still has to get starts. I think he needs to really he needs to work on starts. I mean, he was starting like in 10th place every moto, and I think he was just tired of it by the third. Um, it's probably very frustrating for him, but that's just the reality of it. And then Webb just doesn't quite have that speed. Webb did have some bad luck with the lapper with Kate Clayson, but that's unfortunate. That's happened. I don't think Kate obviously didn't mean to do that. But yeah, these guys have lost a lot of points. And I don't think that anybody can really catch him. Even Roxon said that he didn't have anything else for him. It's as fast as he was going to go tonight. So yeah, I think we have a few years of watching Jett probably win a lot. And you know what? You can't knock him because if you were in his shoes, we would all do the same thing. We'd win probably as much as we could. But I think we're just gonna have to like wait to see who can beat him eventually. Maybe Sexton, if he can get the bike better. Maybe he can give him a run for his money again, like he did in the outdoors. Or maybe we'll have somebody younger come up. Maybe Deegan when he gets there. I think Deegan will work as hard as he can to beat him. I think it would also pose a risk to Jett because Hayden will go for wins. So I think that'll be an interesting dynamic. I think that's what we'll see in the future. Even Vial, maybe Vial, because Vial is a two-time MX2 champ, and he's looking good in Supercross. So he might come up there and win as well. I don't know. But real quick, in that 250 class, it was great to see Cameron McAdoo get a win, go out there, kind of race consistent. And, that's what he's been doing this year versus last year, in my opinion, or in prior years, I should say. He just seems like he is consistent and that he doesn't want to. He's not riding as all out as he used to be. He's kind of taking what he's getting. I'm sure if he gets put in a situation where he's got to make a pass, closer to the end of the race for a win, we'll see more of that all out. But he just gets second, gets second, gets second, and then in the Triple Crown, he goes 1, 2, and I think 3 because Deegan crashed on the start. But just consistent. One's the first one. Had some help with Vial going down, but I still think he would have held it off with how that track played out in that first moto. Gets second to Deegan. Deegan was like 9 seconds ahead of him, so he didn't really have a chance to catch him in that second one. And then third one, he didn't have to pass Pierce Brown, so he played the smart race. And I feel like you see the maturity in him this year versus other years in his riding. He's kind of taking what he's got. I still think, I think them 1-2, it's going to be interesting for the championship. I think Vial, with his ability to start and his speed that he's gotten, I think he's got what it takes to win. I know Ricky was talking about, he's got to win on a track with whoops now. I don't think the whoops are going to play that big of effect on him. I get it that he did crash in the whoops this race, so that kind of just happens. That's just part of the whoops that bites everybody at some point. But I think Vial is gonna really push him as well. The biggest benefactor of those two fighting would probably be Hayden Deegan because he's 16 points back. He's not necessarily out of it, but with these shorter rounds for the 250 class, you only get like 9 rounds. It's harder to make up those points. However, he does have two east-west shootouts, and that's an easy way to make up potentially 7 points. I mean, if you get fourth, it's a big swing in points. If one of them gets fourth and Deegan somehow gets first in the east-west shootout, that flips the script quite a bit. He would cut that points almost in half, and then he's got two opportunities to do so. I mean, that all depends on where they finish as well, but there's still hope in the 250 class for Deegan. But I'm interested to see. I think it's going to be Tom Vial, Cameron McAdoo. I just think we see a mature Cameron McAdoo. He's not all out as he used to be. And then Tom Vial is just heating up. He's a good rider. He's an MX2 champ for a reason. He's just had to learn Supercross, and we're seeing him learn Supercross, and it's showing. It took him a year, which is okay. He didn't have any real experience. It's really different American Supercrosses versus anything you would see overseas. So I think we're seeing, just the fact that he is a good rider, and that's what he showed at MX2. So Tom Vial is going to pick it up, and then Deegan is just learning, right? Jett had terrible learning experiences in the 250 class. Deegan's learning. Deegan's got the speed. He came in injured. Hasn't really, as he said, had a full week of training. on the bike, he's finally there, and you kind of see it in his speed. His speed looked a lot better this week than it did last week. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it plays out. I kind of would like to see McAdoo win it because of all the struggles he's had in recent years. But at the same time, I understand Vial. It wouldn't surprise me if Vial wins. But either way, I would like any one of those guys to win it. It would be cool to see. Just as long as it's a good points battle. That's it. But yeah, so Jett Lawrence Domination, he's here. And then Cameron McAdoo, Tom Vial, the fight till the end will be sick to see. But let me know what you guys think about the race in the comments below, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.